on, guys, Clifton Denny with On Your Own Outdoors. Hey guys, it's summertime, so you know what that means? We're here to do some gear reviews. The stand we got to talk about today is the Summit Dual Climber. So one thing is, guys, if you follow Summit, those things are like lazy boys in the tree. It's hard to beat the comfort that comes from a Summit. But with Summit, over the years, they've had multiple different kind of climbers. They've got basically the line, no matter the different sizes. It's got the bar that goes around the front, or they've got the open shot line. So the reason this thing gets its name as the dual threat is because they made this where you can bow hunt out of it or you can rifle hunt out of it, and we're gonna go over all of that stuff today. So the first thing we're gonna talk about is the weight. Like a Summit, not beating it up, it just is what it is. Make sure that you're going out there and walking them laps because they're a little bit heavy. So this stand comes in at 22 pounds if you use it as the rifle stand version, or 20 pounds if you get rid of that bar up on the top and use it as a hand climber. And we're gonna go over all of that stuff today as well. Cool thing about Summit that you do like to hear me talk about is not forgetting about those big boys. So this stand does have the 350 pound weight rating, and then they say that you can get on an 8-inch to a 20-inch tree. Being Summit, I haven't done it with this one, but I've been able to stretch those numbers just a little bit in the past, running some of my Summit stands, get on a bigger tree. That's one thing that I've always liked about Summit, is it seems like I could get on a larger diameter tree with a Summit stand. So used to, whenever I did rifle hunt a lot, I always toted this at least in the back end of my truck, because if I got down in the bottom somewhere and I got one of those trees that was like this big around, because with my climber, I gotta be able to touch my hands. I get down there to one of these trees that's like this big around, that's whenever I would bust out the Summit and go over it. So probably the key feature of this thing that I like the most is this bottoms land. So if you're from the South, it's bottoms land. That's all you need to know. But we're gonna talk about right now, guys, is what makes this thing a dual threat. So number one, when it comes out of a box, big deal is that it is put together. We always talk about that with all my products. That's a key feature for myself. It's like, hey, you know, you have to put this on, but other than that, the stand's ready to go. If you've ever carried a Summit trying to figure out how that dude packs together, drop a comment in the bottom and I'll do a video on that if you'd like. But that is one thing that's a little bit more difficult with Summit stands, is figuring out that mathematical equation to get them packed together. So first thing we're going to talk about is why it's called the dual threat, and that's this guy here. All right, so I brought you guys up a little bit closer so we can actually talk about this thing and why it's called the dual threat. So I'm gonna move it around the tree and stuff like that so you guys can get a good look at it. But this is the reason here. It's the bar up front. So basically this bar, you've got 3 different options. Number one, you can use this thing as the sit and climb. Having the availability to use it as a sit and climb is super beneficial. We're gonna show you how that works here in just a minute. But basically you have 3 different steps with this guy. So you've got it down in this position that gives you the sit and climb position. When you're up in the tree, you can fold this dude up and kind of have it underneath your legs. No harm, no foul, it's out of your way. Your other option with the bar being on is to take the bar, say that you're a rifle hunter. Once you get up in the tree, you can push the pull pin through. Everybody knows I'm not a fan of pull pins because they make noise, but you can push the pull pin through, and now you have your rifle rest. When I get up there in a minute, you're gonna understand more importantly why that's important. But the big thing to talk about with this stand is the availability to be able to completely remove this thing, which I'm not gonna do in this video, but to be able to completely remove this thing and use this dude as a hand climber. All right, guys, so while we got this thing, another deal I wanted to talk about is the seat. So most of the time in the Summits, if you ever notice, you sit down really, really low in the seat. They did make some adjustments on this so you can raise this up and be more of this angle. And if you've ever hunted out of any of the Summit, regular Summit stands like the Viper SD and stuff like that, trying to shoot a bow out of it while you're sitting down is very, very cumbersome. Being able to adjust that seat up where it's more in this position so you can shoot over these edges is super huge. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about this front bar. So if I was a rifle hunter, I get in here, traditional stands, the bar's down here like it is right now. You're up here trying to get a rest like this. With this stand, now you can fold this dude up, push your pull pin through, and now it gives you that rifle rest. Once it's seat, it gives you that rifle rest, so you're not having to dip down as low. Obviously, you're higher up in the air, so you're gonna have more of a down angle anyways. I think that's a home run in itself. This is the other option if you're gonna leave the bar on. Say that you are a bow hunter, you can take this guy, fold it underneath, and now it's completely out of your way. If you can see here, there's a gap in between my legs and it, but the seat even as low as it's sitting right now. But it's out of your way. Now you can take those shots, you can bow hunt. I like having the adjustable bar. Obviously that's the big deal about this stand, but I am a fan of that. So now we're gonna talk about the climbing method. So if you were going to climb in this thing as a sit and climb style, what they're talking about with a sit and climb is you kind of fold this dude down like this. So being able to climb at the sit and style method is just like that. So you're in it like this, you take your feet, you put it in the stirrups, and you can pull your feet up to you, come up to the top, go like this, sit back down, so on and so forth on up the tree. Coming back down, it's the same thing. Just leave that dude sitting, take your feet, kick them out, bring it back down to the desired height that you want. Now, the thing we want to talk about, and like I said, guys, for the purpose of the video, I'm not going to take the bar off, but you'll still be able to understand the concept. So if that bar was out of the way, or you wanted the bar on there so that whenever you're up there, it's an all-day sit, and you want to be able to turn around and face the tree and just take the load off for a minute, rather than just sitting in that chair, say you can't keep yourself awake because it's too comfortable, you can fold that bar up, but using it as a hand climber. So if you've ever used one of the Summit open shots, that's what this is. So you're going to take this guy up, you'll bite it into the tree, grab a hold of each side, resting your weight just kind of on yourself, on your arms, pick the bottom up, and do it like that. Also, when you go to set your climber, guys, I like mine to be about knee height. My seat to be about knee height. It seems like that's the most way to keep it as comfortable as possible without your feet dangling and not being up too high in your chest. All right, so we kind of talked about the top. I'm gonna move this dude way up here, kind of get out of my way. When it comes to the bottom, you've got two little pegs that are here on the side. You've got this little bungee strap that goes through the middle. The way that you're supposed to operate that is you put your feet on the front side of the little bungee, and then you put it around the little plastic stirrups. The reason for that is it just keeps forward pressure on your feet so it doesn't slide out behind you. When it comes to the bottom of this stand, it looks and feels, and I think is, exactly like just about every other Summit stand. One other thing that I want to talk about with this stand before we move on to doing the pros and cons that we always do at the end of these videos is over here on the side, you have a little rail. Summit makes all kinds of attachments, everything from dump pouches to bow hangers, all kinds of things that you can buy to put over here on this little attachment sleeve. That is a huge plus to a Summit, and I just wanted to make sure that I brought that up while I was doing this video. You can get on Summit's website, you can get on Max Prairie Wings website through the link down here below, and it'll take you to those, and you can see all those different attachments that you're going to use. So we're going to jump straight into the pros and the cons of this stand as I see it. So we always talk about the minuses first, so we can end with the positives, smile on our face. So the minuses. I don't have just a ton of minuses about this stand. It's exactly what I think they were going for whenever they made this stand, which is basically, in my opinion, I would use the word hybrid. It's a hybrid version of the two style stands they have out on the market right now when it comes to like the SD stands, I guess you would say. So the only two negatives that I really do have is the weight. I wish that Summit would make a stand that was just a little bit lighter. I got it, you've got something, you're killing it, just stick with it. However, if you run climbers and you have run as many climbers as I have, when it comes to comfort, you cannot beat a Summit stand. It's like having a lazy boy up in the tree. However, they are heavy. So again, if you leave the bar on, you're looking at 22 pounds. You take it off, you're looking at 20 pounds. Also remember, it's an actual bolt. So if you're gonna do that, make sure you do it before you get to the woods, because you're gonna get down there and not be able to take that bar off. However, the only other negative that I have is always going to be pull pins. It's not a beat up on Summit. It's on every lock on, every stand, every review I do that has pull pins. Technology is there nowadays. We can get rid of those pull pins. The only reason I don't like them, guys, is because of this. They just make noise. They're hanging. They're clanky. You're going to beat them up. But that's really the only two negatives I have is the weight and then the pull pins. So let's talk about the pluses, and I feel like there's a lot that is to be said about the pluses of this stand from Summit. So number one, used to, if you go back a year and you wanted a rifle stand, you wanted a bow stand, and you wanted to run Summit stands, you had to buy two different stands. Nowadays, obviously, you can buy this one, the dual threat, and you have both stands in one. The availability to remove that bar completely off there is an absolute home run. If you wanted to leave the bar, but the availability to fold that dude down to use as a sit and climb, or to bring it up higher, to use it as a gun rest, also huge. That's one thing that I used to hate about my Summit, is if I was going to take that shot, I feel like I'm laying all the way down here with my rifle trying to take a shot. Now it's just normal. It's right here. It's up there. It's in your face. You can bury that forearm in there and be able to take a more steady shot for a cleaner harvest. And then lastly the biggest home run I think it is the fact that they went to bottoms land on this stand. I love bottoms land down here in the south. It works great, and I promise you guys up north it works well up there too, because I wear bottoms land up there as well sometimes. So anyways, guys, that is the Summit dual threat climbing tree stand. Absolute home run. I love it whenever companies listen to customers, and I know for sure that customers have talked about the fact that they wish that they had the option to bow hunt and rifle hunt out of a stand. So guys, that's all I've got for y'all today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Go back to that homepage, hit the little bell up top, because you never know where we're going to be or what kind of products we're going to be reviewing. And until next time, guys, good hunting, and we'll see you from a tree.